Sydney, thank you for joining me. Just wanted to ask you just a few questions about your thesis and just kind of like your whole process of your research and just kind of wanted to get an understanding of everything that's gone into your whole master's degree, or at least your thesis part of it.
Yes.
The first question that I have is, what is your thesis topic about?
Okay. So my thesis topic, it's really specific. It's about interior design in live action cyberpunk films. And cyberpunk is a subgenre of science fiction, of course. Yes. Mhm.
Okay. And I guess to add to that, like what inspired you to do this very specific subgenre of science fiction and
So I didn't do communications for my undergraduate degree. I did graphic design and design studies and art history. And I didn't decide to go into communication studies for my graduate degree until I was right about to graduate for my undergraduate. And so when I got to the program, I really did not want to let go of graphic design and interior design and art history and all that. I wanted to incorporate that into my communication studies degree. And I do remember one of the reasons why I decided to go into communications is because I wanted to learn more about media studies. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do something with design. I'm going to do something with media studies. Now, what's something else I like? And I did a project on the movie Blade Runner by Ridley Scott when I was an undergrad. And then when I got into grad school, I was taking this one class and I was going to do a project on the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. But for personal reasons, I had to drop that class.
Mhm.
So I wasn't able to complete that. And I thought, okay, well, for my thesis, maybe this is the time where I could have expand on that project that I was going to do and I didn't get a chance to do. But another thing that really inspired me is that when it comes to looking at design of the future, we can speculate all we want, but I think that obviously there are scientists and engineers and designers who are working on these things, but for the general public, they don't always see those things. They don't always see those things because they're really behind the scenes. So maybe one way that they really experience that is through film. And I think that, a lot of people in media studies would agree with this, is that when you look at cyberpunk or science fiction in general, that's kind of how we in the present envision our future or what we worry about in the future. And I picked cyberpunk because it's it seems to be very, I guess, it's more, I don't want to say realistic because that's more like hard science fiction, but it pulls from a lot of the social issues that we currently have in our world. And it takes place in urban environments that are kind of built off of what we currently live in. I live in San Jose. So it is kind of an urban environment. And I thought, okay, this is a subgenre that's right for this, not like space opera, like Star Wars. I mean, that's great, but it's very different than what I think I envision our future to be.
Can you kind of speak about more about what how you went about conducting like your research?
What everybody has to do, regardless of what your topic is a literature review. And that's when you look at previous literature to see, okay, what has other people said about this? Um, what holes am I going to fill in this research? So that's pretty self-explanatory. But when you are doing media studies, the really nice thing is that you don't have to go through as much IRB, which is like the review process if you're going to work with human subjects, like an interview process or surveys or things like that. You don't have to go through that, which is nice because then you get to do a lot of it on your own time and you don't have to rely on like a third party to tell you, okay, now you can conduct this part of your research.
The next thing is, do you have any advice for undergrad students who are considering continuing like their studies and go through grad school?
Yeah, I'd say if you were like me and you're not a communication studies student, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go into a different field. Like, don't be afraid to go to grad school for something different, even if it's still a little bit related. But don't be afraid to do something different in grad school. I was really concerned at first that I wouldn't have the same um, like basic academic background communication studies as all the people who went into masters and they did undergraduate communication. And that wasn't the case at all. You know, I found it pretty easy to adjust. I would say you have to be very good at time management, because in undergrad, you normally have your class like twice a week, unless it's a double period and you have it once a week. In grad school, you have your class once a week only, and then the rest is kind of up to you. So being really, really good at time management is important. But I would say that if you're interested in grad school, you should go for it.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Well, that's it for this interview. Thank you for your time, Sydney. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This was really fun.